It's the first day of school for the son of the Demon King in the human world. He has barely stepped into the classroom and hasn't even properly settled into his seat before trouble comes finding him. These typical bullies of school start picking on what they assume is an easy target. But little do these guys know, they are pushing their luck against the literal next Demon King. Being born into the demon race, Lavis was taught only one thing during his time in the demon realm. Humans were ants, meant to be crushed the moment they appeared, and Lavis intends to stick exactly to that principle. He grabs that nonchalant, pretty-faced boy by the neck and brutally slams him against the desk. His bold and unexpected reaction shocks everyone. One guy with an ugly face goes absolutely ballistic with verbal jabs and quickly jumps at our boy in an attempt to save his pretty-faced friend. Yet the moment Lavis looks back at the charging human, his demonic powers react in tandem with his body. As Ugly Bitch Face throws a haymaker, my guy merely tilts his head, letting the punch glide harmlessly past. Countering the assailant's strike, the kin of the Demon King delivers a jaw-breaking Mike Tyson-style punch that sends the guy smashing into the lockers behind him. Let's hit pause right there and learn exactly how the one who was supposed to rule over the demon realm ended up here fighting mere school bullies. Meet Lavis Vindica, the merciless son of the esteemed Demon King, and the one next in line to inherit his father's throne and rule over the entire demon realm. He was assigned a single task by his father, but he outdid himself in the worst way possible. He was tasked to investigate if Hiltga and his clan were conspiring against the king's will. However, Lavis Vindica took matters into his own hands and annihilated the entire clan under the pretext of treason. The king knows his son is a troublemaker as it is, but this time he has lowered an already low bar to its absolute limit. Gamdeware Vindica, the ruler of the demon realm, is done tolerating his son's antics. The arrogant prince tries to negotiate with the king, insisting that the evidence of Hiltga's rising rebellion was everywhere, so wiping out the mess before it scattered further was the best option available. However, the king doesn't believe in such barbaric, extrajudicial approaches. Even if those guys were deserving of punishment, it should have been handled with proper law and order under strict jurisdiction. The arrogant son erupts into laughter at such a boring way of handling things. His son's lack of a code of conduct disappoints the king to his very core. The king is already convinced that his son is a shallow-minded, ignorant fool. Arguing with him is the same as trying to convince a wall to move aside. This is why he has already decided on the punishment for his son after thoroughly discussing it with the 12 Dark Thrones. For violating the laws of the demon realm and massacring Hiltga, Lavis Vindica will be exiled to the human realm. Not only will he be sent there, but his dark powers will be sealed away. His Majesty is hoping for his son to return only after becoming a sincere person, worthy of ruling over the demon realm. Under the command of the Demon King, the 12 Thrones proceed to cast down their spells with the intention of sealing Lavis's dark powers and banishing him. Among those 12 Thrones is a guy named Ranbei, who intentionally plotted everything for our boy, and seeing him in such a pathetic state is giving him a thrill. Anyhow, there are a few rules he must follow if he doesn't want his soul to get incinerated. First, he must live his life like a normal human being. Secondly, taking his own life is prohibited. And lastly, harming or killing humans is also strictly prohibited. With that, the once great demon prince wakes up possessing the weak, frail body of a human called Minho. The previous owner of this body was a weak, bedridden boy, a victim of bullying. Since he was supposed to be in a coma, his sister and mother were shocked to see him back on his feet. While the mother and daughter were an emotional bunch, his new father is an unhinged, emotionally unavailable man. Now that his son is awake, the father simply orders him to get ready for school tomorrow. The next day arrives, and that's how he finds himself tangled with these bullies, the very same ones he is currently beating to a pulp. The entire student body's jaws hit the floor seeing the once whiny little runt turn into a total Sigma. As Bro farms aura after punching the assailant to the ground, a nerd with glasses doubts if he is the same Minho they once knew. Let's not forget about the pretty boy with the pretty hurt ego. He comes at our boy holding a chair in his hand, ready to smash Minho's head. The glasses nerd warns Minho to watch his back. Our boy reacts with lightning speed to that warning, delivering an instant knockout kick that makes the pretty face double over. The once confident bully has been rendered into a confused mess, unable to believe who flipped Minho's switch. He is spewing insults and profanities left and right, unknowingly making the situation worse for himself. You see, Minho is typically unable to use his demonic powers, as they were sealed away. However, whenever someone hurls profanities at him, those curses awaken the demonic magic within. The more he is cursed, the greater the power he can wield. In reality, Minho's mother was the living embodiment of profanities. She invented them and unleashed them upon humanity. With his leg brimming with power after absorbing all the profanities, Lavis delivers a devastating snap kick to the bastard's chin. That final kick finally turns the pretty face into an ugly one, knocking him out cold. By the way, both Pretty Face and Ugly Face are known as Taiwu and Sungyun, and the entire class is in disbelief witnessing such an unprecedented sight. Meanwhile, our boy reflects on his current situation. He has finally cracked the code. He has found the way to live an entertaining life while upholding his father's conditions. With the grin of a pure devil, bro wholeheartedly invites anyone who loves to hate him. He wants them to hate him and spell out all the juicy profanities he desperately craves. The entire class is wondering why Minho is talking cracked all of a sudden. The nerd in the glasses also begins considering the fact that Minho was hiding his real strength all along. While the entire class stands still, it's the nerd who approaches the hero, inquiring if he is all right. Recalling that this nerd had helped him earlier, Lavis decides the nerd is the best contender to become his lackey, so he firmly reciprocates by admitting that he is fine. A while later, the nerd is bombarding him with all sorts of questions about his recent strength buff. He even jokingly entertains the possibility that Minho is a reincarnation from another world. Hearing this, Lavis gets worried, wondering if the kid has found out his secret. The kid continues to ramble on, asking him what kind of life he lived in his previous world. Perhaps he was living in a martial arts world, or maybe it was a game world. Fearing that this nerd might have actually cracked the code, Lavis decides to nip it in the bud before more people learn about his secret. However, before he does anything, we are dragged into a flashback. One of his close friends once warned him against killing humans. Killing humans means soul annihilation for demons. The meek demon understands the implication, but he clearly remembers teacher Cynthia's lesson. She had advised them to crush humans on sight. His friend warns him that she only released that statement ironically. You see, demons are the gods who preside over death. Even though humans are foolish creatures always trying to kill each other, demons still don't hold the authority to harm them. And he has already stated the consequences. Back then, Lavis had thought there was no need to stress about it since he was never going to visit the human realm anyway. But in the present, Lavis finds himself in a deadlock, having no clue how to shut this nerd's trap without strangling him to death. But it looks like he doesn't need to. The nerd admits that what he is talking about is totally absurd fantasy, though he does feel desperate, claiming he wants to live in another world too. Lavis realizes that this nerd's words are genius since he is reeking of desperation. As the nerd continues to ramble on, Lavis is relieved that the kid is oblivious to his origin as a demon. Out of the blue, the nerd throws out a sincere compliment for grinding those two goons to a pulp. Getting praised by a mere human definitely crawls under our demon's skin. Just like curses are a sweet lullaby to him, compliments coming from humans feel disgusting. Night descends, and we find our boy reflecting on his situation. Even though a demon stuck within a human body shouldn't be possessing any kind of magical abilities, his magical powers are clearly reacting. Since he doesn't have any validating answer to his situation, he takes this opportunity to gloat about his title as Lavis Vindica, the undefeated kin of the Demon King. However, that very demon prince begins to twitch in pain and eventually collapses on his bed. His entire body is aching due to the fact that this vessel is having a hard time engaging with his magic. The poor guy spends almost half of his night in agonizing pain before eventually falling asleep. The next day, in the evening, both the nerd and the demon prince are walking back home. The nerd is busy rattling out his gratitude to his friend. You see, there hasn't been a single day in the past when they weren't bullied, but everything has changed since yesterday. Lavis doesn't think gratitude is necessary, especially since those guys were asking for death anyway, a statement that startles his nerd friend. Suddenly, Minho is called from behind. When our boy looks back in response to the voice, he finds a bunch of frustrated bullies. The guy leading the pack is actually the brother of Sung Hyun, one of the kids Minho beat to death's door 2 days ago. They are annoyed because they took a fraction of the fees to ensure Minho's protection, yet he dares to bite back like a dog instead of returning the favor. While the nerd is trembling in apprehension, my guy lights up like a messed up kid in a candy store, wanting more insults hurled at him. Even the nerd thinks what kind of masochist dim-witted friend he ended up making. The leader of the goons grins as he strictly asks his victim to follow him. The maniac is more than happy to comply so long as he gets verbally dog-walked. At the secluded construction site, every goon is present, including Sung-yeon himself. His brother is unhappy seeing his sibling get his ass handed to him by this lowly runt. Now turning to the very runt, the big shot boldly stares into Minho's eyes, wondering how they should settle this. He is definitely not letting him walk away without consequences. After all, Minho has messed with his brother, and he must be taught a lesson. He questions this fucked up kid if his mother didn't teach him manners. Perhaps his mother is just as fucked up as him for teaching him to beat nice kids like his brother. Well, Minho doesn't hesitate before affirming his mother did, in fact, teach him exactly what this jackass is saying. Of course, even though our demon was speaking with all honesty, his brazen response and the sly grin plastered across his face served to tick the bully off. The arrogant fool proceeds to explode with a crisp slap. My guy, on the other hand, is thoroughly thrilled to have his mother insulted. It was just music to his ears. Those insults invoke the demonic powers he needs for the moment, which helps him grab the overpowering hand of this bastard. With a tight grip on one hand, Lavis balls up his fist with the other and delivers a solid uppercut to his opponent's face, then follows up with a relentless barrage of punches. He continues to pummel the hell out of the bastard. This unexpected turn of events leaves the other goons in a frenzy, standing on the sidelines doing absolutely nothing other than cursing. Their pummeled bitch boss orders these pussies to step up and take on this guy. Minho takes his stance, ready to utilize the power of slurs and take down the entire horde of hyenas. He begins kicking and punching everyone coming his way one by one, taking them down instantly. The poor nerd standing over there has no clue what kind of Hollywood shit this is. The screams of Minho's victims echo through the construction site for a while, but they soon stop when there is literally only one man left standing in the arena, which is our boy, of course. Getting to experience violence and curses makes Minho feel delightful, to the point that he feels grateful for his uncle as well as his mother. You see, his uncle was the one who introduced violence among humans, while his mother is the inventor of curses. Given how refreshing the taste of violence feels, he is grateful to his uncle. Let's not forget about the nerd, who is definitely going to rethink his life decisions once he gets back home. It looks like the nerd isn't the only spectator watching our boy. There is a possessed rat watching over Minho with purpose. Turns out, it's his very uncle our boy is currently feeling grateful for. The uncle is glad watching his nephew enjoy the little gift he bestowed upon this human world. Ranbei, the one who orchestrated this plan to expel the demon prince into the human world, is also there. Lavis's uncle feels admiration for the kid for exterminating House Hiltka, short for Hilt. Ranbei argues that the kid has always done whatever he wanted, so it's a pain to get through that guy's stubbornness. What really stuns the uncle is how Gamadare, the boy's father, ruthlessly sent him down to the human realm as a punishment. It's the rule of the demons to bestow forceful submission to handle the reckless among their group. The human realm is also the same place where the most unique sinners of the demon realm are sent, which means our boy is going to be facing some real challenges soon. Uncle over here remembers how his nephew once only used to cause small troubles. At the same time, Ranbei now understands why Lord Barkin blessed his nephew with the demonic bloodstone. They're ready to visualize the sinners thrown into the human realm, so Lord Barkin tells him to share the details. Casting tendrils of dark magic, we get a visualization of several powerful demonic opponents that our boy is going to have to come across and defeat. Lord Barkin extracts the information by absorbing the dark energy circulating in the air, and he looks forward to the kind of performance his little nephew is going to bring to the table, especially when faced against actual darkness. Let's go back to Minho's regular school life. His biggest fan is Budget Midoriya, who can't believe that this guy took out Taewoo's brother without breaking a sweat. Hilariously, Minho eats some spicy-ass noodles and tears up from the pain, but pretends as if this was just sweat rolling down his eyes. His friend even advised him to choose a beginner flavor, but our stubborn demon protagonist is not a bitch, so he picked the spiciest hell flavor. Suddenly, his buddy's phone rings, but the kid is hesitant to pick it up. Suddenly, he tells Minho that it's an urgent call and that he has to leave early without him. Watching him leave so suddenly like that draws a stare from our boy. We find ourselves at the next scene where a woman is wrapping up her latest artwork. Her canvas is a human who refused to pay his debts, so the goth mommy carved some symbols on his head. At this time, one of Jaehee's men brings over Sion, who is trembling in fear. She taunts him for arriving so late and quickly gets him opening his eyes to look at her creation. Sion is disgusted and terrified. The symbols mean thief, and because this dude refused to pay her debts, she punished him properly. Jaehee wonders if this is the fate that little Sion also wants, since they have a personal promise too. Frightened, the boy is barely holding it together as he reasons that things have been interrupting his progress. Bitch slapping him on the face, Jaehee expresses annoyance at his inability to follow orders. To punish him properly, she is delighted to carve some words on his hand, or even his back. Sion begs for mercy, so she offers him a final chance to make things right, or else he'll end up like the dude dead right behind them. Jaehee orders him to do what she says right to the last letter, or else he's cooked. By night, the same kid is trembling on the keyboard, questioning if he should really go forward with this. The consequences of disobeying Jaehee will cost him his life, so Sion has no choice. As for our boy, Minho's out here aching like he's on his periods. This is called the effects of a spice wimp. His stomach is churning up and breaking apart. Even though his body feels sore after that fight, Minho is fed up with this shitty body, so he starts doing push-ups to build up his physique. The great Lavis Vindica refuses to die with shitty physical stats, and puts in the work to look like a chick magnet physique. That aside, we return the perspective to Sion, who is in school. He has a gadget in his hand. Something about the app scares him, but Jaehee's image at the back of his mind is even scarier. The poor guy is forced into a shitty situation and doesn't know what to do when Minho comes around to check on him. At this point, Sion wonders if he could ask his buddy for help, but also knows that it would be dangerous. Jaehee and her men are extremely dangerous, so it would pointlessly drag Minho in his mess. Suddenly, our boy senses a kind of familiar smell coming from nearby. Right then, an orange-haired girl topples down and hits the floor. Seungye has suddenly gone unconscious, inviting Sion's worry as he checks on her condition. But when he flips her over, this girl is looking like a rabid dog and a zombie. Then again, this is the average girlfriend when you say no to her. Jokes aside, Minho senses demonic energy, but the shocking part is why a human other than him possesses it. The coach quickly rushes in to grab the girl and hurry her into the infirmary. While passing by, our boy catches a glimpse of the insignia marked on her arm. This symbol is actually one of House Hilt, but it makes no sense that it's on a human's body. Minho is deeply invested and wants to check properly, so he finds his way to the infirmary in order to sneak up into her room. The attendant stops him as these are resting hours, but Minho uses one of his powers, something to do with oblivion magic, as he resets her position after taking over her mind. Despite being weak, he can cast minimal spells like that in his current state. Our boy heads into Seungye's room, who looks at him with annoyed expression. Adopting a serious tone, he directly asks about her identity. At first, she pretends not to know, but our boy yanks the crap out of her arm, showing her the demonic mark and questioning why she has it. Seungye still isn't budging, so this man threatens to end her with great suffering if she doesn't confess every word she knows right now. This side of him is so frightening that she is spooked out, feeling the aura of a godly demon coming from his body. Seungye's tone changes from annoyance to straight-up fear, as she starts revealing her connection to Jae-hee, how he needed Seungye to receive the tattoo if she needed to join the group. Our boy senses the scent coming off of this woman, and it's not because of her double beef roast sandwich, it's because of the familiar scent of demons. In the demon realm, we get a flashback sequence of the time when our boy was a kid. Ranby didn't want to explore this area, but the stubborn rage baiter called him a pussy for it. Bro had to follow Lavis in the end because he was afraid of what would happen to him if he went alone. Ranby really couldn't tell what the goal was, and decided to indulge on a story involving those who possess transcendent eyes. The demons who do end up losing their sight one of two ways, either because their vision is too clear, or their eyes degenerate and become useless. In a shady location like this one, Ranby felt on edge, but Lavis was cautious as they were about to arrive. They watched from afar, a deceased body with a flower blooming on its palm. Ignoring all danger, Lavis got even closer to the flowers, while Ranby identified the deceased person to be Jeremy Hilt, but the strange question is why this body had flowers growing all over it. Recklessly, Lavis extracted one, only for bloody vines to come out from the roots as well. It was a shitty smell while Ranby identified this unique plant to be the gnawing flower. Minho is confident that Seungye is giving the same scent as the gnawing flower right now, while she begs him to spare his life. Watching from outside, Lavis' every action is being observed by Ranbei and his uncle. In the next scene, our boy heads straight up to Jae-hee's tattoo shop. At first he wonders if the flower and the tattoo are both just a convenient coincidence. Inside, a bunch of dudes can't seem to understand why Cyan has a soft spot in Jae-hee's view. In reality, it's not that Cyan's important, but rather the app. One of them is holding a candy, some kind of pill that was recently developed. The other guy warns him not to eat it since he'll experience damning effects like Seungye, but apparently this guy thinks he's built differently. Popping up in front of these guys, Minho identifies the tattoos and the same scent again. He politely asks if they all got that tattoo from Jae-hee. The group leader is arrogant and walks up to our boy acting like tough shit, only to get his hand swatted and his face bitch-slapped Will Smith style. The dude is put to sleep instantly, while the other punks start to question who our boy even is. I love how this man is just throwing hands without any explanation at all, truly for the love of the game. Minho punches that guy into next Tuesday, while his buddies stupidly charge at him, thinking it'll be no different. Our boy weaves the punch and returns it with double the love, knocking the third. The fourth assailant has a weapon, so Minho keeps him at bay by using a roundhouse kick for range, knocking him over smoothly as well. His only question is about the location of Jae-hee, but it's here when the first dude he knocked down actually gets up. However, Bro isn't a human anymore, but an unrecognizable zombie with only one goal of killing. Minho is stunned. The same lingering demonic energy in this guy became much stronger. He dashes to catch our boy. Even the movement patterns of this guy have changed, which definitely means the drug enhanced him. Bad luck hits as Minho trips over and falls. Now he's really exposed and has nowhere to run. The demonic human charges a powerful punch aimed to kill, with Minho realizing that he's in hot waters. The scene cuts to Jae-hee's side of things, who remarks how the app is yet to be finished. They manage to secure the culprit who stole the blue ribbon from them. The same thief begs to be spared for having made a mistake. However, he's looking at some of the most ruthless people around. One of them grabs blue flowers from the pot, looming over this guy as he pleads for mercy. His end is grim because the guy charges those flowers and thrusts them right inside this guy's head. But that was just one eye. The victim continues to beg, but this guy doesn't stop and ruthlessly plunges the other one down his remaining eye. And then he's just left wailing and screaming, now blind too. These guys don't believe in second chances, and even someone like Jae-hee is scared as balls just being around this guy. He wants her to wrap up things quickly without further excuses, forcing her in a shitty position. Outside, she ponders her situation, calling Cyan endlessly for an update. The poor kid is working on the app, and musters enough courage to check his phone. In a plot twist, it's actually our boy who called him after beating up all the guys here. Minho gets straight to the bottom of it and asks Cyan about his connection with Jae-hee. Our boy knows that Four Eyes have been talking to Jae-hee, which stuns Cyan, while Minho asks him about her location. Cyan doesn't get what's going on, but Minho assures him that he's on a personal business, so he wants to find her. She's usually at the tattoo shop but apparently isn't here right now. Suddenly, our boy finds a lingering little creature nearby. but Cyan begs him to stop here and don't get further involved until he gets there. The call drops as the cat from earlier tries to act normal, but Minho's already caught on and goes up to the kitty, grabbing the little thing and forcing it to look at him. He knows that this cat can understand his language, and one look of death is enough to get a confession out of the furball. He's already been watching the creature turn from a rat to a bat and now a cat. Minho can't figure out what this thing is, until he learns that she's a watcher from the demon realm to look over him. Her job is to watch prisoners without being noticed, which is the reason she's been hovering around Lavis too. The watcher's energy is negligible to the point our boy wonders if she's really a demon. He also criticizes her for standing out far too easily. Even now the stupid cat was standing on its feet. Minho believes it's pointless to talk to this thing any further. What he's really interested in is the voice that commands the creature, addressing him directly. It's actually Rambe, who is stunned that Lavis made some quick progress. Minho taunts him for using another shitty trick and inquires about his goals. His old friend plays it simple and doesn't share a thing. Annoyed, Minho asks a question that's bothering him, inquiring if it's common for prisoners to use magic in the human dimension. Rambe emphasizes that there are certain exceptions, and that he'll understand soon enough. The next subject of interest is the gnawing flower. Minho explains its intense scent, the same one that they experienced back then. The same flower that is supposed to be forbidden in their realm is somehow available in the human realm. Rambe figures that House Hilt's demonic beasts are spreading all over the world, to the point even admins of the demon realm have gotten aware. Everything leading back to the involvement of House Hilt annoys the crap out of Minho, who figures that some of its members exist in the human world. Rambe laughs, highlighting that the human realm isn't the innocent place it used to be. It's a land of endless manipulation. Rambe wants him to take care of everything during his stay, but his words are vague, confusing Minho as he fathoms what he's supposed to take care of in the first place. The Watcher's consciousness returns as Rambe cuts off the call, much to our boy's annoyance. In the next scene, we have Jae-hee pissed off that Cyan refused to pick up his calls even after she rang him 1,000 times. Adopting a second approach, she calls Seong-jun instead, and orders him to return to the office and chase down Cyan at once. Back to Minho, he wants to extract some information about the human world from the Watcher. Her information is usually updated, and her tracking abilities are excellent. However, he directly orders her to return to her real form immediately, or else he'll force his hands. Frightened, the cute cat clasps her hands together and manifests into a cute blue-haired demon. Despite that flashy entrance, Minho is really disappointed with how weak she is. He asks her name, knowing Rambe assigned her for a reason. Turns out the Watcher doesn't even have a name, so our boy gives her Street as her new identity from now on. It's fitting because he picked her up like a stray. The name sounds mocking, but she's delighted to finally have someone name her like that. Minho then demands that she spill every last piece of information she has about the human realm. While this is happening, Cyan is racing as fast as he can to find Minho, thinking that his buddy is in real danger. The poor kid is reminded of the time he won the App Challenge award, only to get confronted by Jae-hee and her men, the ones who laughed at him for winning a mere 500 for first place. She pitied him and kidnapped him that day, stealing his joy and replacing it with fear. Jae-hee's boss told the kid to relax as they're here on business terms. After all, he was happy to lend the kid 50 million won in cash as long as Cyan surrendered his app to them. Cyan rejected the attractive offer, sharing that he never intended to make money from the app. The boss wasn't looking for this answer, and that day began with Cyan's forced slavery under Jae-hee's control. He wards off the scary thoughts to find his buddy, when suddenly, Bro bumps into a tall dude and realizes he's cooked. These guys were looking for Four Eyes too, and Cyan made it so much easier by just coming here directly. Even Jae-hee arrives with fury in her eyes. This time she isn't going to let the kid off easy. Jae-hee kidnaps him again and tells Cyan to code the app for life under their supervision. And if he ever even dares to escape, they'll know because they've got eyes. Even inside Cyan's new cage, they've placed an attendant. The kid knows it's all over at this point, while some of Jae-hee's friends are starting to wonder if this kid is a developer in the first place. The boy has no spine, but their boss wants to use it to spread their product. The app's called I'm Here, and even the name seems shitty to these guys. Logging in, Cyan works on his app, while his boss comes around looking like Chisaki from My Hero Academia. He explains that the app is actually a central piece to the distribution Blue Ribbon requires. The goal is to extract the buyer's information through the app, then use it to manipulate the market at will. Real-time location tracking in the game allows them to expand their transactions even further, so his plans to sell the product have finally come to life. The Blue Ribbon is the same candy drug that turns you into a rabid monster, and it's time to unleash it upon the world. The following day, students at the school discover the appeal of the app, which offers a free cashback of 30,000 won for each person that refers to their friends. 3 people means 100,000 won, so all the girls want to sign up without asking questions. They're so excited by the giveaway event of a few diet pills, one that is marketed as a safe product authorized by the food industry. Of course, these are all lies. By evening, the number of signups goes up by an insane number. Jae-hee and her group celebrate in joy. However, she's still confused why they haven't been able to catch the invader who infiltrated and ruined her shop. After checking the CCTV, all they could find was a bat. Apparently, the footage shows a bat staring into the camera, blocking the view. All of the other cameras were blocked by rats. None of it makes any sense to Jae-hee at all. A sudden message comes from their boss to head over to the location of the stock. While they're busy going there, our boy looks bored and questions why Street is busy hiding in the trash. Apparently, Street gained weight and got stuck. Our boy doesn't care about that and asks about the results of the investigation he tasked her to do. The cute demon is thrilled to share that she found out exciting details despite the difficulty. Remember the punk our boy knocked out? He had a handful of these drugs with the same smell of the gnawing flower coming from them. It's easy to understand that this drug greatly enhances the average human's abilities. But the strange thing is that the gnawing flower always requires a host for its cultivation. So the fact that this drug exists without a host is strange, because the same flower was rendered extinct even in the demon realm. Street shares that the name of the product is Blue Ribbon, and it's currently spreading among humans in different forms, such as in the form of diet pills and supplements. Minho is curious about the raw ingredients, but that part is hard to investigate since the contents of the product are manufactured in secrecy. Even Street can't track those details, which pisses off Minho because if the best she could do was find a name, then she's shit at her job. The Watcher panics and shares that each product is being distributed properly right now, and thanks to the large trails of demonic energy condensed because of that, they could trace down the manufacturer. Our boy taps her head for not going there already, but the only reason she didn't go on a solo mission is because Rambi instructed her to go alongside Lavis. Unfortunately, the little demon has to report each and every last word to Ranbei. She has to carry out both of their orders. Putting her in a dilemma, our boy demands her to make a decision between the two masters. Either she'll choose him or her original master, but the good thing about choosing Lavis is that he promises to keep her free from being a lowly creature. The thought of being a badass assistant to a demon excites this cute idiot, so she kneels down and offers her blood and loyalty to only Lavis from now on. Using the authority of Lavis Vindica, our boy accepts her as his official and exclusive subordinate. This basically forces Ranbei's connection with her to sever and flee away. Now that there aren't any distractions, it's time to head over to the place where the blue ribbon is gathered. By night, they arrive at the location where the most amount of demonic energy is concentrated. Minho is interested in opening one box and checking the contents, but there are dozens of chains blocking each one. Using straight hands, Mike Tyson Jr. slams the chains with a punch so hard that they're done in a single hit. With the container now open, a pungent smell escapes and disgusts both demons. Sinister demonic energy is seeping out, while Street and Minho can barely stand in place. These were the effects of the drug. We get another flashback sequence where Uncle Raken is training his little nephew in the art of combat. Bro was beating the crap out of the kid, refusing to allow him to remain a weakling. A definitive punch from the boy's uncle ended up destroying his very arms, sending the kid straight across the cliff. Lavis fell to his doom, cursing at his stupid uncle who laughed, before descending alongside him. Lavis hit the ground with a heavy crash, while his uncle wondered if the kid was already dead. Suddenly, both their eyes are drawn to the sight of a gnawing flower field, one filled with the corpses of its victims. The young Lavis watched a scene he would never forget. It was like seeing light and darkness divide the other. Beings that couldn't exist together lashed out, and between them, new entities began to sprout. In the era of the cavemen for humanity, the first flower blossomed in the human realm. They all watched its unique ability to drain demons and any beings that came in contact with it. The flower represented doom and destruction for any realm. Uncle Raken and his nephew watched as the field was incinerated altogether. The very reason that they burned it together is why our boy is so confused right now. The Watcher explains that the great demon king Gamudere, the boy's father, eradicated every last one of the flowers from the realm. So both of them are confused how a large number of them were gathered like this in the human realm. Minho suddenly adds that the gnawing flower actually came from the human realm. This is the one realm where both light and shadow blend together, the only place that allows coexistence. From human history, it is gathered that humans were made nearly extinct thousands of years ago. The very fact that the flower exists in both realms at the same time implies that some mastermind is behind all of this. Street is about to add something when suddenly, a person flashes a light on them. Jae-hee and her men have arrived to confront the intruders, who pity the kids for walking into a death trap. While Jae-hee's group thinks this is the same guy who came to trash her shop, Street explains that she's the person they're looking for. Jae-hee mouths her frustration for our boy to come around barging in and wrecking her place. She doesn't even know how he got there. Minho keeps it straight to the point and asks if she's responsible for managing everything. She doesn't like his attitude but confirms that she is, allowing Minho to inquire what kind of materials she's using for the product. Jae-hee scoffs at his audacity to shove his nose into their business secrets, and though our boy doesn't really care much about the product, he also thinks it's dangerous to leave them be. Jae-hee reaches for her pockets for the drug, reminding her men to get serious this time as another failure will earn them Young Moo's wrath. The baddie hands them loads of blue ribbons to eat, and these clowns are ecstatic to receive the precious gift too. Jae-hee tells them to shut up and quickly start munching it down, so the 4 lunatics quickly unwrap and swallow the pill. Knowing the fight's gonna get ugly, our boy instructs Street to hide as she'll only become a distraction during the battle. As for Jae-hee's men, they've evolved to become monstrous and berserk, while she gestures to them to crush their target. All 4 propel with great speed, charging at Minho, who savagely calls them a bunch of intoxicated and arrogant fools. Using his bloodstone eye, he assures them he can take them all down with his miasma. Minho engages with the first target, punching him, and then he kicks the other guy just behind. Bro is moving like Kakashi with his Sharingan as he lasers down a third punch. This time it's a crazy uppercut. Having taken down 3, he leaves his back exposed and gets tackled from behind. Minho falls on the ground, exposed to harm. The same guy tries to drive his knee up his face, but our boy quickly catches it before getting hit. Watching him getting overwhelmed worries his assistant and brings joy to Jae-hee's face. The 3 zombies demonically lunge forth, attacking Minho from every single direction. Because they're attacking all at once, it's difficult to fight back. These guys are way stronger than the other ones he fought with the blue ribbon. This is because they overdosed on the drug, accessing even greater power. Adjusting accordingly, our boy turns around for a different strategy. He quickly goes up to grab one of the boxes where the product is stored, and shoves his hand to grab a sachet. Minho then crushes that same box and throws it right up in their faces. The overflowing scent of the drug overwhelmed the affected men, and its smell is despised by even our boy, who is being overwhelmed by his own miasma power because of the scent. While they're still staggered, Minho grabs one guy's face and slams it straight into the ground, Sung Jinwoo style. To finish him for good, Bro lands a second hit, smashing the guy's face in. One of the others tries to kick him, but our boy evades with finesse before grabbing this guy's kick and flipping him to the ground as well. Pulling out all the stops, the berserk Minho jams his foot on this guy's ankle, shattering his leg. Another dude pulls up in an effort to tackle him again, only to get backhand slapped like Nero did to Dante in Devil May Cry 5. Minho goes on to grab the big guy's toppling body and literally gives this fucker a suplex. Absolute cinema, smash that like button if you felt chills like me. Jae-hee watches in horror, unable to believe how this guy monstrously took down all of the enhanced humans together. Just looking at him gives her the fear of literal death, as a demonic aura exudes out of Minho's body, making him look like anything but a human. Shivering for her life, Jae-hee began to wonder if she was facing a specter entity. At the stage, Yuri stands before the audience. Inside the room, her mother, Kang Hyunju, cheers her on, being sure that someone on her level can, without a doubt, join the Venus Ballet Company. Suddenly 2 men enter the room and Hyunju is instantly alerted, strictly inquiring who they are. They place a jar of blue ribbons on the table, apologizing for barging in. Since it was a bulk order, they came to deliver it themselves. Visibly flustered, she is assured by the man that they handle everything entirely on their own. Still, she wonders if the blue ribbons have any faults in them. Youngmoo mocks her, saying that she has already fed her daughter a large amount and is only asking about it now. Hyunju instantly looks toward the screen and sees her daughter begin to malfunction like a broken vacuum. The men see Yuri collapsing, making them wonder how much the mother fed her daughter. Suddenly, Yuri's ankle snaps, and she falls on the stage like a mannequin. Everyone in the audience is left dumbfounded. The mother screams, as she thought there were no side effects of blue ribbon. The men nonchalantly say that the rule only works when the dosage is taken in the proper amount, then break it down to her that there is no hope left for Yuri. She will need this drug to satisfy even her smallest desires to survive. For her entire life, she will be dependent on it. Hyunju is shaken, as she has invested a lot in her daughter. The phone rings and Youngmoo picks it up. Jin Ji-hee is on the other end of the call, but he sees her in tears. The phone shifts toward our boy, who inquires if he is the one making the blue ribbon. Youngmoo is shocked, and Minho orders him to come and see him, cutting the call. Youngmoo gets up, taking his leave from Hyunju, as he has to leave as soon as he can. On the other hand, the blue-haired girl asks our boy why people even do drugs. The answer is plain. Because of people's stupidity and arrogance, they lean toward drugs, being certain that they would never get dependent on them. Since their lives have almost nothing to cling to, they choose drugs to make their lives feel more purposeful. Then, the girl points toward the thugs, with Youngmoo being the lead. Instantly, he asks why Minho wanted to see him. Our guy brushes it off, saying that it wasn't him he wanted to see. He just wanted to inquire about the drugs, calling him a mere human. Hearing those words, Youngmoo is drawn into a flashback of when he was living in the slums with his father. Youngmoo is trying to wake up his father for more drugs, but as he pushes him over, he realizes his father has passed away. His father's entire life revolved around drugs, and his death did too. But his death doesn't make Youngmoo sad. Instead, he becomes frustrated as he faces drug withdrawals. He begins to kick his father's body, unable to figure out a way to get more drugs. Suddenly, his father's eyes begin to glow, making Youngmoo wonder if his father is dead or alive. But a spirit rises from beneath his father instead, inquiring if he is sad about his dad's passing. The demon spirit also tells him that his father will be returned if he is unable to bear the weight of sadness. But Youngmoo is more relieved that his father died, and he is only concerned about how to get more drugs for himself. The demon sees Youngmoo's urge for the drugs and hands him a gnawing flower, ordering him to feed the flower his father's dead body. The demon also informs him that this is a way of trusting each other and that he will further get whatever he wants. The demon then tells him to kill anyone who deceives him or denies the gnawing flower. After that, the demon spirit leaves the gnawing flower with Youngmoo, giving him its blessing. Right away, Youngmoo begins feeding his father's corpse to the gnawing flower. Coming back to the present day, Youngmoo is offended at being called a mere human. Our boy keeps his calm and wonders if there is anything Youngmoo has faith in, something that gave him another chance at life. When Youngmoo reveals that information, our guy already knows about the contract Youngmoo made with the demon. Still, our boy walks forward, calling both the demon and Youngmoo trash, making him furious. He instantly orders his men to attack Minho. The girl runs away immediately, but Minho decides to deal with them quickly. On the other hand, Blue Ribbon is hitting massive sales levels, which could mean that VIP customers from all over the country will be reaching out. The entire team praises Youngmoo, as he has opened routes to China and Japan as well. Meanwhile, the creator of the app has been worried since its launch, as drugs are spreading rapidly through it. Coming back to our hero, Jin Jae-hee is crying as she watches our boy and his inhumane moves while he takes down the thugs all alone. Minho then challenges Youngmoo to fight him. Youngmoo remembers what the spirit told him, to kill anyone who denies the gnawing flower or deceives him. He pulls out 3 blue ribbons and swallows them while hailing his lord, Bauer Hilt. Thus, he takes the orders from his demon lord Bauer Hilt. Right before the guy steps forward to hit Minho, Jin Jae-hee yells out to him that the hero doesn't seem to be an ordinary high schooler. Rather, he looks like one of those guys with whom Youngmoo made the new drug. The mention of the new drug getting linked to him catches our boy by surprise, and the purple-haired guy takes advantage of it by swinging a punch at Minho. However, just a moment earlier, the hero senses it and yanks the boy's arm away. Without wasting a second, the redhead bastard throws a barrage of punches at his opponent, leaving our boy shocked by his crazy speed. Similarly, Youngmoo is also surprised at his strength, so he asks our boy if he has also received the blessing from his god, as he wants his lord to be only his. This is when Minho understands the reason behind the gnawing flower and the filthy smell coming from Youngmoo, and asks if the god he believes in is Bauer Hilt. Upon hearing his lord's name, Youngmoo gets angrier, whereas our boy mocks him for believing in that pathetic demon out of all as if he has got nothing else to believe in. This remark angers the guy even more, and he yells at Minho for insulting his god, the one who took pity on him. Testing his limits, the hero mocks Youngmoo and Bauer Hilt once more by saying how pitiful and wretched that demon would have been to come to this guy while he was on a run and hiding out. This is the point where Youngmoo reaches the peak of his anger and showers our boy with numerous punches with his swift speed while yelling at him to dare talk about his lord like he's trash. While defending himself against Youngmoo's powerful attacks, Minho thinks about how Bauer Hilt has made a name for himself. He recalls his fight against that demon when he slaughtered all of Bauer's men, but Bauer managed to escape from there cowardly. The hero can't take how that lonely coward is getting treated like royalty here. Thus, he asks Youngmoo about where his lord is hiding. When our boy still doesn't stop insulting Bauer, he releases a strong stench from his body as he uses more power to kill the hero. He grabs Minho by his hair and continues to punch him brutally, while claiming that both Blue Ribbon and Bauer Hilt are only his. This makes the protagonist realize that Youngmoo has lost his mind to the demonic energy and will actually kill him now. On the other hand, Street is scared to see Minho get beaten like that since he's in a human body. Had he been in the demon realm, he could easily use his abilities. In the demon realm, Vanbei watches Youngmoo losing his control and says how the test subject for the gnawing flower has completely fused. He can tell how Minho isn't able to suppress him due to being in a human body without any demonic bloodstone. When he says how Lavis's soul might be destroyed forever, the other sly demon beside him asks Vanbei if he knows what Lavis hates the most. Upon joking about how Lavis has a nasty enough temper to hate everything, his uncle reveals that it's the filth that our boy hates the most, as he has mysophobia, the fear of dirty things. Just like that, the hero grabs Youngmoo's punch as he can't take the dirty smell anymore, and he throws the boy away. Minho feels as if he's regained his old strength. With that said, he uses his great energy and bolts towards the boy to end the fight and the stench quickly. As soon as our boy swings one punch at Youngmoo, he can't believe how a human can possess this much power. When the demon within Minho hears himself being called a human, he punches the boy so hard that he flies back with a broken nose. Shocked by the protagonist's strength, Youngmoo asks him what he is, but since Minho is getting crazy from the boy's smell, he strikes another punch at the boy. Even Vanbei can't comprehend the sudden energy surge within Minho, so the other demon explains how the hero must have gotten a headache from the smell, as he can't stand filth. Thus, his myophobia led him to an awakening, allowing him to use a portion of his original power. Vanby is surprised to know this since even with the Bloodstone, it's impossible for a sinner's body to fully use the power of the demon realm. At this statement, the other demon proudly states that Lavis isn't an ordinary guy. Rather, Lavis takes after him. After launching a punch, Minho tells Youngmoo to consider himself lucky that he cannot murder anyone with this body. However, the boy can't accept that he, who received Bauer's blessing, can just get defeated. Therefore, he tries to pop in more blue ribbon. In order to not let him die, the hero tells him to stop and lands such a powerful punch at the boy that he ends up with a broken jaw with his head buried in the wall. At last, Minho covers his nose when the stench begins to fade. Cyan stares at the data from his app. He realizes that it is not what he wanted to accomplish from this app. People confined in the close walls of a prestigious school, every day pretending to like someone or hate someone, or pretending to be close to someone. He wanted these people to find genuine relationships, where they find each other without any falseness. But his beloved app is used to distribute drugs. Cyan lets out a breath and quickly works his way on the computer. The people outside notice the changes in their apps, thinking if it's an error or a virus. Cyan hears the murmurs from outside and quickly locks the door from inside and presses buttons to delete the app. The thugs understand what's happening and start banging on the glass window, screaming at his face to open the door or else he is in big trouble. Cyan works his way on the computer, trying to permanently delete the app. During this process, his eyes land on the tiny warning button. Suddenly, a loud crash erupts as the thugs make their way inside the room. The main guy lands a punch on his face, asking if he's in his right mind because what he's doing doesn't make sense. Another checks the loading tab, understanding what Cyan is trying to do. The kid is trying to delete the app, and if Youngmoo finds out about it, they are screwed. Finding some backbone, Cyan stands up, injuring the main guy, and runs for the fire extinguisher, declaring that it's his app to destroy. The thugs start coughing due to the smoke. Cyan checks the loading tab, noticing that the process is almost done. Suddenly, one of the bastards pins the kid to the ground. He screams at his goons, telling someone to tie Cyan up as he strangles him, trying to choke him. Cyan's eyes start watering, realizing that this is what he was capable of doing in the end. A head appears behind the smoke. Then a second later, a red glowing eye on the head makes its way through. Minho asks the thug what he's doing with his servant and lands a punch on his face. After pummeling the first guy, he proceeds to devastate the other bastards too. He declares that they are fools to think they can lay a hand on his one and only attendant, because even if he dies, he will never let anyone touch what is his. Cyan sits up coughing. He remembers something buried deep down, the day he showed Minho the app he was building. He had told him the purpose behind it, and also showed the icon he designed just for him. Minho was taken by the bullies once again. He didn't know where he was, how he was. Cyan had taken notes that time to finally do something about it. So he made an alert button that could show the location of the other person, so the friends like him could stay together and protected. He had promised to never let anyone hurt Minho again. The old Minho thanked him for showing consideration, promising that he would be the first to download the app. The current Minho shows him the glowing warning button, asking if he sent that on purpose. Cyan lets the tears fall, thanking him for getting and understanding his signal. They walk outside the building as Strit handles Jae-hee. Within a second, Jae-hee lets go and runs away from them. Minho tells the demon follower that it's okay because the gnawing flowers they possessed have vanished already. On the side, Yeonju alerts the fire department for the fire, noticing the dark energy erupting from Myunggu, who lays unconscious by the tree. Back in the alley, Cyan notices the demon girl who keeps following Minho. Meanwhile, our boy is lost in his own thoughts, realizing that the bastard Ranbei and his uncle are using him. Back at home, Cyan is concerned for Minho's condition, urging him to at least go to the hospital. But our boy's a tank and doesn't need to be patched up. Four Eyes is really happy that his buddy came, even though he just tapped the SOS just on a whim. Basically, bro thinks he came because of the signal, but in reality, this dude just happened to walk by. Minho's assistant shuts him up, whispering that it's unwise to call it a coincidence. Let's actually run that back to see what happened. Minho was taking Jae-hee to her hideout. Frustrated, she thought that he was only going this far because midget Mark Zingerberger was his friend. The hilarious part is that Minho didn't even know Cyan was captured by Jae-hee's group, but with this, he now understood why Cyan didn't come to school. Jae-hee was baffled, not knowing why this dude was going to such limits if he didn't even prioritize saving Cyan. It was at that time he saw the SOS signal ringing. Back to the present, Street doesn't want her master to call it a coincidence, as it would be a terrible move for his relationship with his friend. After all, Minho is going to be stuck here for a while, so he needs to make friends. The kid even views him as a role model, blessed that he came to save him. Cyan speaks up and questions who this blue-haired girl is. Minho reveals that she's just a subordinate, which surprises his friend. Intrigued, Cyan decides to ask Minho a question, based on the fact that he changed so suddenly and now even has a weird friend. Deep down, Cyan actually fears the worst, that his friend over here is under the influence of some terrible organization. He doesn't want Minho to surround himself with dangerous people. Meanwhile, our boy understands that he can't make excuses for his attendant forever. So he actually agrees with Sion's assessment, and straight up drops the banger that he's the son of the great demon king. All of those big words flew right over this kid's head. He couldn't even understand, struggling to comprehend what he just heard, when suddenly he is startled by a cat resting on his lap. Tired of explaining, our boy leaves the talking to his attendant, and that's how the cat began to talk, scaring the ever-living crap out of the poor student. With so much stuff to handle, Sion faints in shock. Meanwhile, Budget Chisaki's humiliation session ended, and now he's regretting not being able to kill his target sooner. A figure walks up to the car where he was held, and immediately dismantled one of the police officers, putting him to sleep. He pitied Young Moo's condition, who exploded in front of his master for failing because of his mistake. Lord Bauer doesn't even listen to him, and intends to take him someplace else for a proper conversation. While this was happening, surrounding police officers subsequently heard reports about the complete takedown of the distributors. The bigger concern was that the drugs they found were even approved by the Drug Administration authorities. The fact that a business was trying to spread dangerous drugs in absurd quantities to children is alarming, but when the female officer turns to her side, she spots Detective Cha on the ground. She races over to him and checks inside the car, only to shockingly discover that the captive has escaped. Over to a different location, Lord Bauer brought his failure of a child. Young Moo begs for a second chance, believing he can absolutely kill his target so long as he can devour more of the drug. His master mocks him for not seeing the lost value of the flowers he just burned. Lord Bauer had done far too much work gathering a group of humans just to use them as hosts for the flowers. He finds the uselessness of even his servants disappointing for ruining his flowers. Again, Young Moo pleads for a chance, promising to finish his job. Dealing him with absolute karma, Bauer plunges the flower directly into his eye, causing him to scream in agony. But that's just the first one, as his master emphasizes their oath sworn in blood. The only way Young Moo can prove his loyalty now is through the flowers, but he's far too busy screaming to focus on Bauer's words. Let's go back and see what Jae-hee is up to. She's trying to steal the coin wallet and make a run for it, except she can't find it, and ends up running into a lunatic who had ingested the drug. Jae-hee is baffled why this is happening to her again, but it's only fair given that she allowed the torture of these humans. The fact that he can barely speak makes her question how much dosage he ingested. Looking to her right, she finds a usable weapon, but her arrogance is stomped in seconds when he drives a blade right to her side. Jae-hee topples in pain, unable to do anything, while the man driven to insanity only demands for more of the blue ribbon. He goes crazy in his manic episode, while Jae-hee gathers herself, realizing she got hit pretty bad. The same girl who enjoyed torturing others streams down tears, terrified that she has to meet her end like this. At that point, something starts happening to the man. Shadow demonic energy manifests Ranbi from his body, who wonders if Lavis is going to hate it even more. She doesn't know who this guy is and still begs for help, but Ranbi cruelly tells her that she should accept her fate to hell. Jae-hee is confused at the edge of her life, while he assures her he won't cast away her body. As the scene shifts, Uncle Barkin is summoned by the demon queen Aeneas. Lady Aeneas immediately complains to him for plotting pranks on her kiddo who has been sent to the human world. Lord Barkin puts on a huge smile and replies that her son is already grown up now, and she should seriously stop worrying so much. His brother then informs her that he was cautious enough to fit a blood demon stone inside Lavis's body before letting him descend. This revelation freaks the queen out even more as she starts scolding her brother non-stop. Barkin argues back, telling her to trust her child for once instead of hovering over him. Upon this, Aeneas reveals that she is actually worried about how unstable the world is right now. If the rumor were to spread that her son, the sole heir to the demon throne, is alone in the human world, the entire world would start collapsing in chaos. Uncle Barkin, however, does not seem concerned at all, and instead the Lord brags that the kid takes after him and that his combat ability is better than anyone else around. The queen bursts into anger again and smacks her brother hard on the head, clearly done with his nonsense. Getting annoyed by his sis, the Lord asks Ranbi to read every book she can find to figure out a way of getting rid of older sisters for good. Ranbi tries to calm the two down, but the royal siblings still end up fighting each other hard, as the argument completely spirals out of control. The scene shifts back to planet Earth where Lavis is just chilling. Sion asks him to confirm if he really is what they call an actual demon. When Lord Lavis admits it casually, the poor boy Sion immediately starts worrying that there is absolutely nothing stopping him from going straight to hell once he dies. Lavis, however, tells the boy that this Earth is already a living hell, and once he takes him along to the demon world, there will be no one there who could even dare to touch him. He proudly declares himself as the sole successor to the demon throne, and hearing this only makes Sion even more scared as he desperately tries to bargain so that he never has to go there at all. As Lavis thinks about returning, he remembers Ranbi and cannot wait to make lollipops out of her eyeballs, clearly enjoying the thought way too much. When Sion finally processes all the nonsense about demons, he questions what would have happened to the real Minho. Street explains that Minho was going to die anyway, and that demons are only authorized to use such vessels as prison cells meant to punish other demons. This news makes the poor boy anxious as he starts holding himself guilty for not being able to do anything as a friend back then. Lavis notices this and asks why he suddenly looks so sad, then once again brings up how he just needs to hold out for a few more decades in this world before they finally head to the demon world together. Cyan realizes that at this point, no matter what he does, he is definitely getting dragged on a trip to the demon realm. When Lavis asks Street to explain just how magnificent the demon world is, she straight up makes things up and talks about how there is the scent of blood and human flesh everywhere, which instantly sends the poor brat screaming in pure terror. The demon prince then warns his new minion that he absolutely should not let any information about him leak anywhere. While heading back to his human home, Lavis feels his entire body aching badly, and a migraine-like pain starts creeping in as he wonders if this has something to do with overusing the power of the bloodstone. As he steps inside, Minha surprises him with a birthday party, complete with a cake that she and their mother baked together just for him. She pulls him in for a selfie, but the demon prince could not care less about birthdays, and instead asks his sister about the bandage on her face, to which she casually bluffs that it is nothing. She claims she just got a bruise while trying to save a granny from some kids who were bullying her. Lavis finds it oddly intriguing and amusing that she tried to help others when she herself is so frail. Mina then scoops up a spoonful of cake and forcefully stuffs it into her brother's mouth, and the demon cannot resist the sweetness as he instantly falls in love with the taste. Just then, their stepdaddy comes barging into the house, shouting about how he got showered with eggs during his candidate speech for the mayoral elections. He rants about wanting to massacre them all and, in his rage, punches his attendant hard in the face. When his wife tries to stop him, the ugly stepdaddy Jung Taishik swings at her too, punching her and pushing her aside. Minya steps forward to protect her mother, but the dad does not stop there, and instead turns his anger toward the cake, arguing how humiliating it is for him to be pelted with eggs while his family is inside baking cake with those same eggs. He slams Minna away and then completely destroys the cake. The kid's mother desperately tries to stop Taishik and reminds him that it is Minho's birthday, but the stepdad snaps that he does not approve of any birthdays today. He shoots an angry stare at his son and then storms out of the place. Lavis, however, is burning with anger after seeing his cake get demolished, and his opinion of Minho's stepdaddy shifts drastically as he locks onto the man with a chilling death stare. That evening, Taishik is screaming inside his office because some Wee Youngmu guy still has not paid him his money. The greedy daddy is running short on cash, which he needs to take a picture with Assemblyman Park so he can advertise himself properly as a candidate. Just as his anger reaches its peak, his butler rushes in and informs Taishik that his daughter has gone viral for helping an old lady who was being bullied by some kids. The butlers share a plan with the evil candidate, explaining how he could cash out his own stepdaughter by publicly revealing their relationship and securing guaranteed votes in the election. The ugly stepdaddy grins wide as he starts planning to use his daughter as a golden goose to feed his greedy desires. As the news about Minha spreads like wildfire, it even reaches the CEO of Nox, Han Yongju. Yongju calls in her daughter Uni and her son Han Soya, showing them Minha's face while openly praising her beauty. The former witch of greed, Mara, calmly tells her children that she has decided this girl's body will become her new vessel, since her current one is starting to look far too old. The Witch of Greed considers it her lucky day, convinced she has found a body she believes is absolutely perfect for her needs. Her children, however, do not seem very excited by the idea, and Soya reluctantly comments that Minha looks like a pretty doll. Meanwhile, Minha's father is successfully cashing in on his daughter's image as he claims the top spot in the approval ratings. He orders his butler to schedule another video of his stepdaughter to air later that night, making sure his popularity stays exactly where it is. Taishik smirks to himself, never once imagining that his good-for-nothing family could end up benefiting him this much. He directs his butler to dig up anything they can use to monetize his daughter, pushing ideas like charity appearances and public volunteering to squeeze out every possible benefit. Just then, Taishik is informed that they have been directly approached by the CEO of Nox, and hearing this only makes the greedy bastard's eyes light up even more. The story then shifts to Cyan, who argues that he had no idea Minha's stepfather was even fighting for the mayor seat. Lavis asks him whether he actually knows Minho's family that well, and Cyan explains that even though Minho rarely talked about his personal life, the one thing he was always sure about was how close Minho was to his sister. When Cyan comments on just how deeply Minho cherished her, something clicks inside Lavis. Lavis is reminded of how his great-uncle once told him to cherish his loved ones the same way he should cherish Ranbei and himself. Just then, Street, in the form of a kitty, tries to crawl out through a hole in the wall but ends up getting stuck halfway. It turns out the foodie has been so obsessed with eating that she has managed to swell her belly way too much. Lavis asks her what Ranbei said, and she casually replies that Ranbei was not there at all, and only left behind a note. Lavis opens it and reads through the note, only to find himself being praised by Ranbei in an annoyingly smug way. On top of that, the nerd assigns our demon prince the task of taking care of Lord Bauer Hilt. This instantly works Lavis up and sends him straight into anger, and he starts shouting that he is going to murder the nerd before he even thinks about laying a hand on Bauer. Cyan snaps him out of it by bringing up how his greedy daddy is steadily on track to being elected mayor at this rate. Lavis cannot believe that a person like that could actually become mayor, and just thinking about the man makes him associate the guy with a Siniru. He asks Street whether this stepdaddy is actually a Siniru that descended into this human hell. Cyan asks what a Siniru even is, and he learns that they are the infamous gluttonopus demons from the demonic realm. They are hated by nearly all demons because they never stop eating no matter how much they consume. Street quickly objects and says that Taishik is just a mere human after all. Our guy mocks Street in response and tells her to stop her eating spree, warning that if she keeps going like this, she might turn into a gluttonous demon herself in no time. That night, as Lavis returns home, he finds the CEO of Nox, Han Yongju, already there to recruit his sister into the Nox entertainment group Zira. She explains that she wants Minha to work under her as a dancing center for the group. Their mother objects, saying that her daughter has never wished to become a celebrity, but she is immediately cut off by Taishik for daring to speak up in front of the CEO. He apologizes on behalf of his wife, brushing it off by saying she is a bit too conservative. Yongju gently comforts their mother and assures her that proper arrangements will be made so that Minha can balance her studies alongside her activities at Nox, presenting it all as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She further strengthens her argument by explaining that times have changed and that celebrities these days can easily pursue their careers while still attending the university they desire, making it sound completely reasonable and safe. As their stepdaddy is just about to sell out his daughter by signing the documents, Minha starts feeling anxious and uneasy. At that moment, the CEO notices Minho standing there and greets him as well, politely introducing herself. When Lavis does not greet her back, the big bad daddy immediately scolds him for being rude and arrogant, but he is quickly cut off by the CEO herself, who calmly says that this kind of behavior is normal for kids these days. Lavis recalls what Cyan told him about how the body's original owner used to cherish his sister deeply. The story then shifts into the demon prince's past, back to a time when he is having a training session with his uncle. Lord Barkin tells the kid that the world is filled with evil forces that constantly seek to overthrow the ruler, and as the successor, he must one day carry out the will of his father Gamudair, explaining how immense the responsibility is to embrace and protect one's followers. The lad sighs and argues that his own strength should be more than enough for him, but his uncle only laughs and says that a day will come when his heart will be drawn to people without him even realizing it. Barkin tells the kiddo that he will change at that point, but as a demon child who has already lived over 100 years, Lavis could not care less about such words. Back in the present, Lavis finally stands up for Minha and asks her to tell him honestly if she is being forced into this mess against her will, assuring her that he will handle everything himself. Minha hesitates for a moment, her mind flashing back to all the times her stepdaddy has treated their family horribly. She remembers the day her mother was being beaten mercilessly while trying to take the kids and run from Taishik. Her mother begged him desperately, and even Mina tried to stand up, but no matter what they said, it didn't matter at all, because they had nothing in their name to protect them. As she recalls that day, Minha finally says that she is in, but she lays out a strict condition that all the money she earns will go directly under her name. She plans to use that money to pull her family out of this mess, unaware of the full consequences that might follow. Her father sweats nervously but plays along given the circumstances. As the contract is about to be signed, her mother asks once more to make sure her daughter truly wants to do this. Minya assures her mother that she will do great and then turns to her brother, silently thanking him for standing up for her the way he did. As the scene shifts, the Nox CEO is driving back in her car, and the witch couldn't be more excited about something she has in mind. Soya comments that Minho looked a little off for some reason. The CEO witch then asks Uni what she thinks of him, and she agrees that she too senses something unusual or special about the boy. Yongju suggests that the boy could possibly be a demon realm tracker, which catches her son's attention. He asks if she wants him to eliminate Minho, but Yongju stops him from acting impulsively and firmly reminds him that Minha is their only priority for now. Nothing else matters at the moment. When the boy insists again, she explains that a certain moonless night is approaching soon, during which she plans to perform the ritual and claim the vessel, and once that is done, he is free to do whatever he wants with Minha. Just then, Uni opens her mouth to say something while addressing the CEO as Mara, but the witch instantly snaps at her, furious, reminding her never to use that name again. She boasts that soon, not even the Demon King and the 12 black seats could do anything to her. The next day, Minha arrives at Zira and is introduced as the new center for the group. A girl with 2 ponies protests, claiming she had been working so hard for this position, but gets ignored. As the CEO leaves, the ponytail girl bullies Minha and complains about her stealing the position through connections. She scratches Mina's face, making her bleed slightly, while openly challenging her to see how far her connections could take her. Soya watches this through the camera and is certain that once his mother knows about it, she will lose her temper. He immediately tells her mother that Hyun has clawed at her beautiful vessel's face. Hearing this drives the lady absolutely mad, full of rage. Meanwhile, somewhere else, our demon prince has summoned his minions and informed them about how his sister is being bullied. Street argues that Nox is very famous and that his sister could easily dominate the human world if she plays things right. Lavis explains that he doesn't plan on interfering, considering his sister really wants this. But what sets him off is the CEO and her kids. He argues that he couldn't sense any miasma from them, yet the CEO still managed to keep her eyes locked on his gaze. He suspects that she might be a demon disguised as a human. Street comments that it becomes easier for demons to conceal their miasma after staying in the human realm for a long time, and adds that they should proceed with caution. She still lectures the demon prince for staring at people so blatantly. Even Cyan agrees, noting that humans don't like being stared at. Lavis shifts the topic back, insisting that he can recognize a demon when he sees one, even if he doesn't have his powers right now. Cyan mocks him, reminding him that he couldn't even find Bauer. Annoyed by the ridicule, the demon prince gets angry and orders Street to escort him to the demon realm's infernal training grounds. He is furious at being looked down upon simply because he cannot currently use the power of the Bloodstone. He then asks Street if she has found a way for him to recover his strength, to which she nods and confirms that she has. After that, he instructs her to investigate the CEO and her twins, and also to take Cyan along, calling him his attendant number 1. Meanwhile, Hyun walks down the street, tears streaming from her eyes. Just then, she hears something and turns to see Ani pursuing her with a sword. She panics, asking if she has done something wrong and offers an apology, explaining that she had gotten angry for a moment. Ani wastes no time and brutally murders her for simply putting even a simple scratch on Minha's face, arguing that her mother despises that kind of behavior. Time for some backstory. Before she was possessed by a demon, Mother was a happily married woman who was very close to having kids. After she was banished, the demon crawled out of the sewers and saw her as the perfect vessel to take over. That night, she slipped into her house and forced herself inside her body. She promised to take good care of her soon-to-be-born children, since they could at least be useful as servants. Lying in bed, she started laughing like a complete psycho. The lady's husband woke up because of the noise. Unfortunately, that turned out to be a huge mistake. The possessed woman started choking him and dragged him to the window. Bro probably thought she was copying a scene from 50 Shades, but he quickly realized he was screwed when she held him over the edge. Disgusted that she had to live with a filthy human she once called her husband, she mercilessly threw him off the balcony. The greedy witch celebrated finally owning a pretty vessel of her own, but she soon regretted it when her body suddenly went into labor and she suffered the worst pain of her life. She threatened the surgeons to hurry up and finish if they wanted to live. She also cursed Lavis's mother, the one who had sentenced her to the human realm. After the delivery, the surgeons were horrified to see the twins staring back at them with crimson eyes. Back at home, the witch grew annoyed with her ugly body that refused to lose weight no matter what she did. When her kids called out to her, she kicked them aside and ordered them to be useful after sucking up her mana for so long. She commanded them to protect her until she could secure a new vessel worthy of herself. That was how she raised the twins with absolute obedience. Her friends were shocked that she started going through multiple guys in a single day after losing her husband. She completely neglected the children, and instead spent her nights at clubs, searching for anyone connected to the movie industry. That way, she could find a beautiful vessel to possess, and eventually gain enough power to take revenge on the Demon Queen one day. The scene then transitions to her giving an interview about one of her talents who was recently murdered. The detective presses her with several heavy-hitting questions that she clearly cannot answer. Suddenly, she starts gagging. Her son quickly steps in and tells the detective to ask questions another day, suggesting that she is simply grieving for the girl like her own daughter. His sister suggests they should interview the other actors instead. The detective agrees and asks his partner to question the others, but she senses something is definitely off. As soon as they walk out of the room, Mother spills her guts out and completely loses it, ranting that the detectives are all up in her business. Even though she is paying a crap ton of money for her superiors to cover everything up, her son tries to comfort her. She is furious that her vessel could break down at any moment, and that dumb girl dared to hurt her new one. The boy calms her down and assures her he will prepare her new vessel for the transfer, so she does not need to worry. Later in front of the crew, Suya talks to the girls and says there is probably some creepy stalker out there stabbing young girls like Hyan. Because it is unsafe for the other girls too, he suggests they live in the building from the next day. Mina asks if that is really necessary. He replies that it was going to happen sooner or later. Idols living in the training building is quite normal in the industry. Mina is sad to hear that, because that means she will not be able to see her mother and Minho. With a killer stare deadlier than Mikasa, his sister calls Minha greedy and starts mumbling something. Suya immediately tries to chill the crazy witch down. He reminds her of the consequences if she damages Mother's vessel. He plays her malice off, saying she was so close to Hyan, so her death made her very sad. He tells the girls their parents will be informed, so they should pack all their stuff the next day. Mina feels worried about leaving her mom alone, especially since Minho has been acting strange. Meanwhile at the gym, our boy is pumping iron with his buddy. He notices lifting weights improves his control over demonic energy. He can take down possessed humans with his current strength, but he needs to get stronger if he wants to fight real demons. Annoyed, he curses Banbei for not telling him how to use the bloodstone. In the letter Banbei wrote to him, the guy mentioned that he modified the bloodstone to return his power instead of sealing it. However, his true power will awaken only when the stone is broken. That means he basically has to get his face bashed in to reach full potential. Besides that, he also gifted his best friend a demon child who would prove useful. He hoped Lavis would have a great time reading the letter, but our boy simply ripped the letter apart before he even gave it a read. Back at the gym, he really hopes Banbei did not write the method to use the stone's power in that letter. Just then, Street comes rushing to him because she caught wind of terrible news. She informs him that the lady and her twins he asked her to look into are bad news. Apparently, she is the demoness named Mara. Mara, the Witch of Greed, is one of the infamous 12 demon thrones who was banished to the human realm by the queen. Grinning wide, our boy thinks that is terrific news because he finally knows where she was hiding all along. The scene shifts to Queen Aeneas as she bestows blessings upon a pregnant lady demon. The gathered crowd sings praises while a goth demon lurking in the corner shoots her a hateful look. From the shadows, she starts muttering nonsense about the queen while one attendant desperately sucks up to her, calling her as beautiful as Queen Aeneas. Chomping on a fat, juicy worm, the goth demon smiles and promises to bless the attendant by ensuring her future child dies in unbearable agony. The flattery dies instantly, and the attendant shuts up. Mara continues muttering to herself, vowing that she will take her revenge someday. Coming back to our boy, Street asks if Mara was jealous of his mother. Minho confirms that the wannabe goth hag has always acted like that, but no one ever paid her any attention. The Witch of Greed was caught stealing from the magic fountain the moment she rose to power and fled straight to the human realm. Cyan wonders why the demon chose Minha out of everyone here and questions whether she knows our demon prince's real identity. Our boy figures she probably never noticed, but even so, he admits he is far too weak right now to stop her or even deal with her offspring. Street suddenly gets fired up and suggests they focus on unlocking the Bloodstone's ability as fast as possible by hunting demons. Meanwhile, Minha is out shopping with her mother, who still looks uneasy about her daughter's decision. Minha reassures her that the murderer will be caught soon. Her mother still looks unconvinced and reminds her that Minha once wanted to become a vet. While staring at bags of dog food, she realizes that the dream will likely never come true. Now, she just wants to save her family from her monster of a stepfather as soon as possible. Putting on a bright smile, she tells her mother that dreams can change and promises she will become famous and rich in no time. Her mother mentions that they will not be able to talk as much since she will be living in a dorm, but Minha brushes it off. The woman suddenly grows quiet and apologizes for marrying such a trash man. Her daughter reassures her that she only did it to protect them. She reminds her mother how sweet the stepfather seemed before the marriage and how all of them were played like idiots. Minha tells her to hang in there and promises that she will work harder than ever. The scene shifts to our group standing inside an amusement park. Staring at a roller coaster, Minho wonders what makes people scream like that. Moments later, he is hunched over and puking his guts out after the ride, but tries to play it off that it wasn't a big deal. He swears to himself that he will never ride that thing again. Standing before a haunted house, he wonders if this is really the place. Street confirms it and launches into a Wikipedia-style explanation that this demon was imprisoned in the human realm long ago. When asked for the name, she reveals it is Scrum, a demon that feeds on screams to grow stronger. It converts sound waves into magic and infuses them directly into its body. The shapeshifter girl explains that the best way to lure it out is to use someone who screams really pretty. The demon prince slowly turns his gaze towards Cyan, who immediately denies that he screams at all. Tired of his yapping, Minho grabs him and drags him inside while Street wishes them luck. Inside the haunted house, Minho is unimpressed by the decorations, while Cyan looks like he is about to pass out. He says he feels a strange presence nearby. Minho reminds him that they came to catch that weird something and tells him to stop making a scene. When a prop suddenly drops in front of them, both of them let out embarrassingly high-pitched noises. Cyan tries to call him out for it, but Minho instantly shuts him down and doubles down, asking if that was really the nerd's first scream. From a distance, a demonic eye watches them as Cyan wonders if this is truly the fastest way to get stronger. Minho explains that the Bloodstone leaks magic little by little whenever it senses evil demons, so taking them down will steadily increase his power. At that moment, the demon finally reveals itself, drawn in by the sweet sound of screaming. Cyan panics as the demon lunges toward him, desperate for more of that sweet, succulent noise. The nerd asks if this is the gremlin they are hunting as Minho grabs the massive hand mid-swing and warns the demon not to touch his servant. Scroom shifts its attention to Minho and wonders if he is human. Our boy simply stares him down and mocks him, curious what kind of scream the demon will make instead. The demon questions what a mere high school boy like him could possibly do. Scream casually slaps Minho away and sends him crashing into the wall. That terrifies his buddy so badly that he starts screaming, which only ends up feeding the demon more power. He clicks his tongue in frustration, because only his left hand has enough strength to silence the monster. Our boy charges in for another punch, but the demon's ultrasonic blast blows him away again. His buddy Little Pipsqueak screams again and accidentally keeps fueling the demon's power. The prince shouts orders at the idiot to stop yelling and stop being such a burden if he can't be useful. The demon enjoys those eyes filled with terror so much that he says he wants to pluck them out and wear them as earrings. Our boy feels insulted that Scream thinks he is afraid. He throws another punch, but he fails to reach the demon with his inferior human body. Scream gets tired of playing around and grabs him. The freak grins wildly as he listens for screams, then tries to gouge his eyes out with a blade forged from those very screams. Our demon prince calmly bets that he will not make a single sound. Right as the blade strikes his left eye, something strange happens. Scream freezes, confused when shards of a red crystal spill out instead of blood. Suddenly, Lavis's power bursts free. He smiles wide, almost excited, because he can see everything much more clearly now. Banbei had modified the Bloodstone to release his true power once it was destroyed. He feels pretty pissed at Banbei for setting such a cheeky condition like that. Scream is shocked that his blade failed to pierce a mere human eye. But our boy's next attack makes it painfully clear that he is not human at all. After pushing the demon back, he orders Cyan to scream as loudly as he can. His friend does not understand why he wants to boost Scream's power, but he still trusts his best bud without hesitation. The Pipsqueak yells at the top of his lungs. That shout powers up the demon immensely. The monster grins in delight, thinking his enemy just made a stupid mistake. Our boy calmly reminds the fool that he slows down right after absorbing a scream. With that opening, he leaps forward with his full power unleashed and smashes his fist straight into its eye. The demon writhes in agony as he absorbs its evil energy to slowly reclaim his original magic. The demon's entire body disintegrates and gets completely absorbed into his left eye. The demon prince immediately feels his power surging through his body like a wild current. He is certain now that he will reach his peak in no time if he continues absorbing more evil energy. Cyan nervously asks him if he is feeling fine after taking a demon into himself like that. Thrilled and grinning, he tells his buddy he is more than ready to devour the next one without hesitation. Meanwhile, at the Nox agency, Minha is quietly escorted to her assigned room down the empty hallway. The psycho hoe coldly tells her to unpack her things and settle in. She adds that the girl is not allowed to leave the room unless she is specifically called for practice or work. Minya quietly accepts the order and bites her lip in frustration. But doing all this for the sake of her mother and little brother gives her just enough strength to endure. Observing her through a security camera, Mother completely loses her mind. The decaying witch is growing more impatient to transfer into her new vessel already. Suya promises that he will stay obedient and loyal even after she moves out of his mother's body. The scene shifts back to the amusement park as Street senses that something has changed. She immediately congratulates Lavis on getting his powers back and starts buttering him up shamelessly, swearing she will follow him for all eternity. Lavis tells her to cut the drama and just tell him where the next demon is so he can deal with the Witch of Greed as soon as possible. The next demon turns out to be Sheol, a creature that feeds on unhealthy lungs. Our hero grabs it by the head like a football and orders it to follow him. The demon barely lasts a minute before being absorbed, though Lavis instantly regrets it due to the disgusting stench left behind. Not wasting time, he hunts down another demon named Askra, who feeds on drunk humans. This one smells just as awful, but he has no choice and absorbs it anyway. Meanwhile, Cyan wonders out loud why demons even feed on humans. Minyo explains that once demons cross into the human world, they lose most of their powers and must feed in order to survive. That revelation makes the nerd tremble like he is on drugs, as he realizes that all those ghost stories might not have been fiction after all. On the other hand, the demon prince decides he now has enough power and chooses to test it. A sudden flash of light startles Cyan as Lavis materializes his own scream sword out of thin air, though it is still incomplete. The nerd then asks if it is really okay to send Street out by herself, but Lavis reassures him that she is so weak that most demons will barely even notice her. The scene shifts to Street in her bat form. Out of nowhere, she suddenly complains that she is starving, only to notice something unusual. She swoops down and snatches a maggot crawling along the ground, but quickly senses that something is off. Street realizes that the bug is infused with Mara's magic, and immediately rushes off to report back to Lavis. Meanwhile, a car quietly exits an underground parking garage and disappears into the night. Suya grips the unconscious Minha and proudly tells his mother that he knocked her out. Now looking like a homeless drug addict, the mother urges her children to hurry. Suya looks more excited than ever, while the girl shows no sign of waking up. Back to the demon prince. Street yells incoherently at him while still holding the bug in her mouth. Switching back to her human form, she presents the parasite and tells him to take a look. She explains that the bug belongs to Mara, and that the witch is currently hiding in a human body. Minho realizes that if parasites are escaping her body, it means she is desperate to find a new host. It makes sense, considering the Witch of Greed's obsession with youth and beauty. The thought irritates him, and he mutters that Mara should act her age, especially since she is older than his mother. Intrigued, Cyan asks how old his mother actually is, and Minho replies that she is over 6,000 years old. Completely flabbergasted, Cyan asks how old Minho himself is, which sends him into deep thought. He recalls a memory of his uncle taking him to the human realm when he was still a child. Back then, humans were constructing a massive structure, which his uncle assumed was being built for him. Lord Barkin mocked our prince, claiming that a weak demon like him could never achieve such status. Ranby then politely corrected Lord Barkin, explaining that the structure was actually meant for the celestial being, Ra. This enraged Lord Barkin, who demanded to know why humans were building a temple for someone he had already beaten. Declaring himself the victor, he claimed that the building belonged to him instead. Returning to the present, Cyan grows even more shocked and states that the pyramids were built roughly 4,000 years ago. Street snaps them back to reality and asks what they should do next to save Minha. Lavis sinks into thought, considering the terrifying possibility that Mara may attempt to take over his sister's body. The scene shifts to the demon family arriving at an abandoned building. Now resembling a withered old hag, Mara mutters that the sky was empty when she was born. She limps toward the structure and states that this is the correct location, a fissure between the three realms. After climbing the stairs, they enter an open area and the three freeze at the sight. Standing among neatly arranged flower-infested corpses, Bauer stares at the intruders and demands to know who they are. Mara calmly reveals her identity and declares that she has already claimed this fissure, leaving him utterly stunned. The guy immediately recognizes her as a former member of the 12 Demon Thrones. However, her magic is primitive at best in her current weakened form. He yells at the twins to stay away from his flowers and get out of his territory immediately. The witch admits she is too weak to even walk properly right now, but she lets him know that her children are more than powerful enough to compensate for that. He is mildly surprised to see that she turned the humans into demon hybrids. He thinks she is pathetic for depending entirely on her kids. Mara laughs and says they are merely doing their duty. She orders the druggie to wrap up his ugly garden and leave at once. That insult to his precious garden ticks him off badly, so he tries to attack her without warning. But Suya kicks the failure away to put him firmly in his place. The demoness flashes a vile, satisfied grin. She force-fed her kids water from the demon's soul spring, which is found in the deepest depths of the demon realm. It is the place where all magic originally comes from. The Demon King took it over, so no one else could steal its power. Mara fed all of it to the twins as an investment so they could protect her until she finds out where Serkyle is hiding. The scene transitions quietly to the forest outside. Our demon prince and his best bud follow Street as she tracks down the witch's exact location. They reach an abandoned building still under construction. Cyan thinks they are in the wrong place, but she claims there is absolutely no doubt she is in there. When Cyan asks him to save his sister no matter what happens, he tells the guy they are storming in together. His friend insists he is just dead weight in a fight against demons. But our boy coldly says even he can still be useful as a meat shield. Street wishes him luck for the fight too, but he orders her to accompany him so they can match the enemy in numbers. At this moment, she realizes she swore loyalty to the wrong master. Inside the building, Mara prepares the magic circle and lays her new vessel carefully on it. She makes it clear to Bauer that he needs her to survive in the human realm. Her creepy son asks her to give the clown to him as a toy for running errands. The clown gladly agrees after he was beaten up badly and finally learned his place. Just then, all of them turn their heads in shock at the sudden presence. Our boy casually walks into the room full of mangled bodies with his two sidekicks right behind him. He is surprised to see this is where Youngmu disappeared to after he dismantled his gang earlier. He reminds Sion that he would also suffer the same fate if he were not saved by him back then. Listening to them talk about his subordinates like that, Bauer is furious when he sees the punk who destroyed his entire operation overnight. Suya confirms his assumption that Minha's brother is not human at all, and he asks Mother who exactly he is. Street proudly introduces her master as the Prince of Hell, who exterminated Bauer's entire family without mercy. Mara blows a fuse when she hears he is the son of her sworn enemy. Bauer also loses his mind after learning that he is the executioner who slaughtered his family right in front of his eyes. He realizes this is the perfect chance for revenge at last. The prince is merely a human in his current weakened state after all. Meanwhile, the jealous and delusional witch thinks the queen is so petty that she sent her own son to the human realm just to humiliate her even further. Our boy calmly analyzes the situation, quickly realizing he cannot take all three at once without risk. To lower the numbers, he orders Bauer the bastard to get out immediately. The guy starts talking trash back because Lavis is no longer the prince he once feared. But he instantly shuts his trap when the prince yells, telling him to leave if he does not want to die here. He orders the fool to tell the other demons about his arrival personally. They better behave during his stay, unless they want to be devoured alive. Bauer is dumbfounded at how he is still able to use magic in his human form. The guy makes a run for it and literally jumps out the building out of pure fear for his life. With that settled, our prince tells the withering hag that she is not allowed to just steal someone's body to feel young again whenever she wants. She goes completely diabolical when he calls her an old hag to her face. That furious shouting puts a heavy burden on her fragile body and makes her cough up blood violently. After calming down, she suddenly cheers up, wondering how the queen will react when her children kill the queen's only son. The demon prince is also dying to see her reaction when her precious kids are murdered by the son of the woman she envied her entire life. Fuming from his mocking tone, Mara asks her children which one of them will bring her his filthy tongue as a trophy. Suya tells his sister to buzz off as he swings his spike ball around and hurls it straight at our boy. Lavis dodges cleanly and shoves Street out of the way. Unnie closes the distance in an instant, and our demon prince barely manages to parry her blade. She snaps at her twin to stay out of this fight, making Suya complain that he was just about to accidentally land a hit on her. She orders her brother to watch her back as she continues her assault, chaining attacks one after another. While blocking her strikes, Lavis realizes they have absolutely no teamwork and decides to exploit that weakness. He taunts them, saying they will end up killing each other before ever reaching him. This enrages Suya, who starts yelling at his sister for nearly taking his head off. Lavis quickly figures out that the girl is cautious while the boy is full of himself, making them easy to destabilize. After their attacks are blocked again and again, the twins grow increasingly frustrated, and Lavis finally draws first blood by slicing into Unnie. Even then, he remains mostly defensive, noting to himself that despite being hybrids, the two are absurdly strong and wondering what Mara did to turn them into this. Spotting an opening, Suya launches his spike ball once more, managing to graze Lavis across the gut. Unnie immediately follows up, declaring she will take his head for sure as she rushes in again. She lands several cuts across his body, but quickly realizes he is deliberately dodging to protect his vital spots. Suya charges in again, warning Lavis not to die before he gets his turn to finish him. Our demon prince sidesteps, only to be forced down to one knee as he blocks a lethal strike from Unnie. She keeps screaming for him to die while pressing her blades down, but Lavis slips out at the last second and retreats several steps back. Realizing he cannot handle both of them head-on, he decides to provoke them further. Lavis shouts at Suya that his older sister is incredibly strong. That instantly sets the purple-haired brat off, who screams that he was born first. Consumed by rage, the brat starts swinging his weapon like a madman and charges straight at him. The twins keep pushing him back while Unnie yells at her brother for getting too close. He ignores her, shouting that he will be the one who gets to finish off Lavis. Watching this, our boy feels satisfied, seeing that Suya is now fighting purely out of anger. The moment the brat steps into his striking distance, he finally makes his move. Meanwhile, Street is locked in combat with Mara, hurling insults at the witch for turning into a greedy old hag. This enrages the witch, who increases the intensity of her attacks and manages to land a hit. Street tanks the blow, realizing that now is the moment for Sion to act. The nerd sprints toward Manhwa, who is surrounded by a barrier made of demonic energy. He presses his hands against the barrier and immediately screams in pain. The demonic barrier both burns and freezes him at the same time, but he refuses to give up and keeps pushing forward. Sion yells at Manhwa to wake up, but there is no response. Street continues trading blows with Mara, doing everything she can to keep the witch's attention away from him. Suddenly, the demonic energy explodes outward, sending Sion flying back. He stares at his badly damaged hands, clutching them in pain as the thought hits him that he is still just a powerless human. Just then, an image of the two siblings flashes through his mind, which makes him all fired up. He shouts that he will save Manhwa no matter what and slams his fist into the barrier with everything he has. At the same time, Mara lands a heavy blow on Street, which makes her scream in pain. The old hag taunts and tells the girl that playtime is over. Clutching her injured shoulder, Street wonders if this is the true power of someone who sits among the 12 dark thrones. Mara fires 2 projectiles, mocking Street for thinking she would be weak just because she was using a rotting body. The shards pierce Street's shoulders, pinning her to the wall. The witch tells her to stay put and watch what happens to the twig, desperately trying to break the barrier. Street panics and screams at Sion to get away, but the green-haired boy realizes it too late as a sudden spray of blood bursts into the air. Lim Sion crashed into the floor with Mara's filth covering his body like venom. She could melt the nerd and squeeze some nutrients out of the guy. Sion was completely stuck under the sentient filth. Mara lamented wasting too much time on useless things when the perfect vessel was free and open to enter before her. The Witch of Greed sang her disturbing prayer, calling the darkness to hear her demands and invoking the fulfillment of her oath. While the ritual proceeded, young Manhwa was being constantly hounded by the Dumb and Dumber demon twins. His scream blade and level of swordsmanship proved to be an impenetrable combo. Thankfully, Han Young and Han Su actively refused to work together. They saw each other as competition instead. While Han Young pulls ahead, Han Su was mysteriously captured by a magical lasso. He was dragged into the sidelines, constricted and gagged. His captor was none other than Jin Jae-hee. For some reason, she referred to Manhwa by his original name, Lavis. In the middle of all the chaos, the witch crawled over young Minha's unconscious body to puke her filthy soul into a new vessel. After being forced to take it all in, Minha opened her eyes, and her determined gaze was replaced by insanity. With the perfect vessel finally obtained, the senses of a fresh body hit different. Mara vowed to enjoy such beauty forever. By the looks of it, their mission failed. Cyan, Strida, and Minho were unable to prevent the ritual. To make matters worse, the Prince of Hell still has his hands full trying to break free from the constant twin assault. Lurking behind the dark, Jae-hee intently watched Lavis's every move. She was love-struck by his new appearance. The demon who took over this body, Beltia, had to avert her gaze and focus on the tricky situation at hand. She was at a crossroads. If she steps in to help, Lavis will see her. Just imagining an interaction with him was enough to turn her into a shy mush. While his captor was busy with her delusions, Han-soo tried to catch his twin's attention for help. Han-young sharply picked up on her twin's plight, but she's busy trying to contain Minho's onslaught. She could only curse that idiotic brother of hers while defending. Mara also took notice of her son's condition and easily freed him from the restrictions. Han-soo told his mother what happened. There's a rat in their midst. Aside from that annoying complication, Mara can't complain. The takeover was a massive success. When all hope was lost, Strida asserted that there was still a chance to turn this around since Miss Minha's body hadn't completely disappeared yet. They're in the middle of a moonless night, a night when the boundary between human and demon realms blurs. Until morning comes, Mara's ritual cannot be completed in full. Minha's soul is still inside that body. Hearing this revelation, Minha suddenly reverted to her usual self and begged her brother for help. Minho almost fell for the trick. Mara was just messing with his head. She loves using her acting skills for evil, but the Lord of Blood does not appreciate being mocked. The night is dragging along, so the witch commanded her children to kill everyone so they could wrap up. Untied and free to go crazy, Han-soo charged in with his old ball and chain, still pissed off about his earlier fumble. More than the physical toll, the Lord's pride was more hurt due to being so weak and struggling against a couple of hybrids. In addition, the witch doesn't even acknowledge his presence. She was freely roaming the room. After the takeover, she is starving, and there are two scrumptious meals lined up before her. One is human, the other is a demonic beast. Before she could take her pick, a curious spherical gadget rolled down her feet. The gadget opened like a Pokeball, revealing a little Lavis figure, and released a cloud of thick red gas into the air. Instinctively, Mara recoiled away from the mysterious red fog. Minho, on the other hand, recognized the gadget. The witch backed off a little, giving Beltia the opening to jump in and free Strit from the painful skewers. After getting rid of the massive thorns, she granted Strit a new upgrade, some mechanical claws. She recognized her savior by Jin Jae-hee's face, but this woman's actions were baffling. Immediately, Beltia hopped in Sion's direction and got rid of the sentient filth holding him down. She gave the nerd a gun and told him to help Big Bro Minho. Strida was puzzled. They were just given modified weapons straight out of the demon realm. Sion was even more confused. One second, he was wriggling on the ground. The next, he was standing with a gun in his hand. The gun shocked his body in an unnatural way. His head felt strange, and his heart pounded like crazy. He grew dizzy and had a hard time breathing. Mara was caught off guard and was equally stumped. Strit took advantage of the mess and closed the distance between her and the witch. Even at melee range, Mara mocked her for slipping on a toy in her hands while no one was looking. Mara's arrogance caused her to slip up and lose a hand. Those claws weren't toys after all. But if the problem was simple weaponry, the witch could simply devour the whole thing. Her severed hand sprouted filth tentacles that were impossible to cut through. It's apparent that Mara is starting to adapt to Minha's body. Dragging this any longer will worsen the odds of rescuing the poor girl's soul. The witch wanted nothing more than to get a taste of fresh demonic beast meat. Luckily, Strida spotted the umbilical cord connecting Minha's body to Mara's dragon core. Since Minha is just an ordinary human, she can't possibly accept all of Mara at once. To defeat the biggest threat in the room, the magic circle must be busted wide open, and the umbilical cord must be severed. After being forced to tank a mysterious awakening, Lim Sion's breathing stabilized. He grabbed onto the modified gun tightly and assessed his current situation. He also focused on the dragon core connected via the cord and the incomplete ritual. If he could just eliminate the magic circle, an opening should present itself. Surprisingly, Sion's desire to do just that activated something in his subconscious. As if a switch was flipped inside his head, he was able to see the structure of magic circles. He immediately deduced that magic is just math and geometry. Every figure can be turned into an equation. Ultimately, any magic circle is nothing more than a mathematical structure. Sion took it upon himself to do some magic hacking to dig for a weak point in the circle. The core was a cubic polynomial. The flow of mana was an S-shaped curve, and the key is hidden at an extremum. Sion was going big brain mode. Strida, on the other hand, was being overwhelmed by the tentacles of filth. Still, no matter what, she resolved to buy the boy as much time as possible and trusted that Sion would clutch up. A few moments later, the eigenvalues were found, and the weak point was successfully dug up. He aimed the gun right at the magic circle's local minimum and brought about its destruction by pulling the trigger. It wasn't your run-of-the-mill weapon. This handgun packed the punch of a magic laser. Combining the focused blast and perfect aim, the protective spell was effectively shattered. The explosion blew Mara away. When she realized that the magic circle was breached, the witch looked absolutely livid. Cyan was still reeling from all the number crunching. He did his job, and he did it well. It's up to his comrades to close this out. Mara was put in an awkward position. Her entire body hasn't finished the transfer yet. Strida didn't waste a single second and jumped right on top of Han Youngju's rotten corpse. With her newfound sharpness, the demonic beast tore what's left of the demonic CEO apart. Mara didn't appreciate the interruption, so she swatted the nimble, shape-shifting cat away. She ran towards her mangled original body, desperately trying to put the torn-up flesh back together. As she slowly stood up from her knockdown, Strida recited a chilling tale of greed that ultimately ended in filth. Standing behind the witch, Lord Lavis held the hybrid demon twins as pathetic captives. It's time to burn the greed and filth together. Hansu apologized to his mom, citing the red fog from earlier as the reason for their defeat. That red stuff in the air was a catalyst for change, courtesy of Beltia. She actually extracted that substance directly from the Lord of Blood's soulless physical body bound in the demon realm. Initially, she planned to keep it forever for personal use. She had a giant syringe full of that shit. Then she heard about the special bloodstone embedded in her love's new body. She easily deduced that feeding Lavis some of his original blood should enable a quick recovery of some innate power. This is Beltia's gift. She just wanted to see Big Bro run wild like before. Speaking of the literal devil, Minho is starting to move like the OG Lavis Vindica without the nerfs. Mara cursed her children for failing to handle one guy. Their mother's words hurt worse than being strangled. It was also the most effective motivation to wind them up. Hansu and Han Young broke free of the Lord's grip and resumed their murderous attempts. Su's ball and chain danced aggressively, and Young's dual blades slashed mercilessly. The best of their efforts was futile in the face of true power. Mara questioned why the prince of the demon realm would risk his life for a mere human. The girl's not even his real sister. It doesn't make sense. His reasoning was simple. He's going through all this trouble because of Minha's cake. His sister's cake was simply too delicious to let go. The cake Minha fed him did not taste as though it belonged to the human realm. It had a flavor found only in the heavenly realm. For the uncultured, this man's reason didn't even make sense. He's a demon talking about the taste of the heavenly realm. If the twins just gave each other cake from time to time, perhaps they would understand. But since they chose to continue hounding the prince of demons, their blood shall spill. For every droplet he tasted, Lavis grew more emboldened. You see, the twins weren't always like this. Little Han Young used to be a perfect student academically. Little Han Su was extremely diligent when it came to housework. No matter how hard they tried to be good kids, all they ever got from their mother was insults and cruelty of all kinds. They lived their young lives desperate for mommy's praise and approval. One day, the family of three went out to a cafe. As usual, their mom saw a young, pretty lady, and the bitter hag started berating her in secret. Little Han Young interpreted her mom's immature outburst as a problem to be solved. The kid ran towards the pretty lady and deliberately tripped, spilling the drinks in her hand into her white top. Han Youngju played the part of a concerned and apologetic parent while pushing her daughter out of the scene. As soon as they were out of the cafe, the polite mask melted, and Han Youngju's sinister smile surfaced. For the first time since she gave birth, the witch lavished Mara with compliments and praise while hugging the little girl tenderly. Seeing Young's awful actions get rewarded with sweet validation, Han Su swore to take care of the next annoyance. Tormenting pretty people that mom doesn't like gives the twins a sense of purpose. If they hurt the people mom hates, they were showered with praise. This way, the witch brainwashed her own kids to be obedient little slaves. Anything mom says is of the highest importance. When mom says kill, the child must say yes. By deleting problems in a bloody fashion, the poor twins were able to receive Mara's fucked up version of love. It was a disturbing way to live, but the demon prince respected Mara's long game. He's being forced to reckon with the product of such a cruel parenting method, and it was troublesome. Even now, the twins are still competing over who gets to kill the target for mommy's little reward. Brandishing his blade, the prince reveled at the oddities of magians and demons. In a single smooth movement, he painted the floor with hybrid blood by chopping off one of Hansu's arms. Mara took note of the change in Lavis's eyes. She's seen something similar to his unbridled confidence and power before. Right now, the prince is moving like his uncle, the progenitor of violence, Barkin. Missing one of his limbs, Han Su rolled around the floor in agony while his sister cursed him out for being an idiot. Provoking the twins even further, Minho implied that Han Su must be the little brother. Han Su blamed his sister for screwing up and costing him an arm. While the twins bickered in the middle of an active war zone, the man on the other corner loaded up an attack. If these two just continued their infighting, the prince would have an easier time. Surprisingly, Han Young forcefully grabbed her bleeding brother from the floor and used him as a meat shield to dampen Minho's assault. Hansu's injuries worsened to a fatal degree, bringing him down to his knees. Blood stained his body, and pain reverberated in every inch. As Hansu slowly succumbed to his wounds, he uttered one word: Mom. The mom he spent his last bit of energy calling was standing on the sidelines and berating him for being so useless. She commanded her remaining child to forget about the useless brother and focus on the enemy ahead. Han Young obeyed without question, while Hansu's fear of being abandoned turned to reality. The witch continued being a nuisance with her tentacles of filth. But without the interference of the twins, carving a path towards the witch had become a lot easier. Mara is almost done with her takeover. If Minho wastes any more time, he could kiss Minha and her cake goodbye. The prince doesn't know the current limits of his body yet. To be as quick as possible, he's going to take some gnarly risks. He pulled out of Mara's way and dragged Han Young with him. Minho caught her by the waist and locked her down with force. The Lord of Blood showed his true colors and vigorously pulled Han Young's head up to expose her bleeding neck. As hungry as a beast, he bit into that juicy artery and sucked the hybrid blood like sweet nectar. He continued sucking spiritedly while maintaining eye contact with his victim's mom. Even the witch with bug organs was weirded out. After getting his fill, Minho dropped the husk of his victim like garbage. This is the method he devised to absorb as much blood as possible to test his body's limit. Han Young charged him up with a decent bit of power. Amplifying all that juice in one burst of supreme speed and martial prowess, he charged forth. Unsettled by the prince's abnormal strength, Mara augmented her tentacles for more defense. It was utterly useless. Minho sliced and diced through the slimy obstacles like a butcher. All Mara wanted was a fresh body. She never meant to tangle with a real demon. Despite his menacing appearance, Minho's body is actually on the brink of shattering. Every move he made felt like being torn apart alive. Regardless of the pain, he loved the chaos and the killing. After overwhelming the witch with sheer force and lunacy, he was poised to strike at breakneck speed with killer precision. Mara has been preparing for this night for years. All of her efforts are going down the drain, mainly due to one man. That man made her kiss the ground by force, putting the witch in checkmate. At any moment he could break her neck, but he couldn't. Mara is still using his sister's body. At least all of her foul-smelling lifelines have been severed already. Minho laid down a deal. If Mara agrees to come out of Minha's body, Minho promised to spare her wretched life. To convince her that he wasn't bullshitting, Minho swore upon the name and honor of his father, the great demon king, that his words were truthful. The witch figured that this boy must be wary of her capability to self-destruct. Losing the perfect hose is a pity, but Mara could always find another vessel as long as she comes out of this alive. Surely the blood of the demon king wouldn't lie and besmirch the honorable royal name. So, she dared him to drop the sword, and then they could agree on a deal. The scream blade disintegrated, melting back into his body. He lived up to the end of the bargain. It's Mara's turn to live up to hers and leave. She held her throat, feeling uncomfortable movements from inside. As soon as that mischievous grin surfaced, the witch tried to catch the demon prince with his pants down by bolting out of the vessel like a bullet. Minho laughed at such a foolish attempt. He had already expected something like this, and prepared his demonic hand to respond to any sudden movements. The demonic arm made it impossible for the witch to slip out in her filthy original form. For someone who used to sit in one of the 12 dark thrones, Mara fell for such a simple trick. Honestly, Minho had no idea how to get the witch out of his sister's body. He was just bluffing all along. He even swore upon his family and his father's honor. The thing is, Lavis doesn't care about his bloodkin. He only needs to protect his own honor. While in her unsightly partial form, the witch felt real dread for the first time in a while. She even resorted to desperate pleading, but Minho continued yanking her out until Minha was cleansed of the filth. Surrounded by the flower farm of corpses, he held the Witch of Greed's life in his hand. Mara tried to bargain, promising to do whatever his heart desires in exchange for mercy. At that point, she was truly willing to do whatever it takes to cling to her pathetic existence. Behind Minho, Han Young wobblily stood up, having miraculously survived. The hope and brutality sparked in Mara's eyes as she beckoned her little girl to kill Minho. Han Young mustered every bit of strength left in her body, but was stopped short by a fitting intervention. Hansu slipped back to life for a few more seconds to get up and take his twin to hell with him. He'd rather have a draw than let her take all the credit again. He will only feel okay dying if Han Young follows suit. Ultimately, the twins were born together. They lived life together, suffered together, and died together. Witnessing the consequences of being a bad mother had Mara cursing her head off in rage. Minho was appalled by this dysfunctional demon family. With her last card out of play, Mara continued her begging strategy, swearing to never touch young Minha ever again. She even swore that Lavis's mom was like a sister to her once. If he doesn't believe it, he could ask his mom, Aeneas, to verify. She swore that the demon queen used to follow her around while calling her big sister. Strita listened to her pathetic speech and was disgusted by her selfishness. Her twins just died, and she's trying to talk herself out of an execution. She's the mother of the year. Tired of her constant yapping, Minho resummoned and swung the scream blade in fluid motion, deleting the Witch of Greed from existence. She was and always will be ashamed to the reputation of the 12 Dark Thrones. Of all people, she never would have thought that Aeneas's child would be the end of her, in such a humiliating fashion no less. Until the last moment, she refused to be deleted, stubbornly holding on for dear life in such a disgusting form. So the Lord of Blood stomped her face out until it turned to filthy mush under his shoes. After liquefying a former big boss in the demon realm, Minho received an ample amount of demonic energy straight into his special bloodstone. Once he was able to get a grasp of his harvest, the prince was pleasantly delighted. He sighed in relief. The witch is dead and the problem was thoroughly dealt with. As expected of someone at Mara's level, the power he gained from one kill was overwhelming. Unfortunately, demons in this realm cannot help but expose such a vulgar and filthy stench that the prince cannot tolerate. Looking at the dead twins, Strit couldn't help but feel awful for them. If Mara hadn't crossed over to the human realm, they could have probably lived a happy life with their real mother. They'll never know for sure. In this world, even without demon parents, a child could be in danger because of a parent's greed. With the enemies taken down, Beltia stayed for a few moments to steal some glances at the love of her life. Minho already knew where she was hiding and what she was doing. When she was called out, she pretended not to hear his orders to come out. As soon as he referred to her real name, Beltia, Striti recognized that their savior was the demon realm's legendary weaponsmith. Beltia was the youngest daughter of the Murtano family. She received all the love and favor for being born as a weapon-forging god born once in 3,000 years. With all her prestige back home, she actually dared to follow Lavis to the human realm. She insisted that she was just following Vanby's orders, and she'll be leaving right away now that the surprise is over. Beltia was infamous for her recklessness and arrogance. She was also notorious for being Lavis's hardcore stalker. That Vanby bastard must have intervened and put Beltia's soul into Jin Jaehee's body. With all the external variances being added out of his control, Lavis's life in the human realm is bound to get crazier.